Hey everyone, this is Jason at Box to Box Soccer Life. I had the opportunity to coach my daughter's U13 futsal team the other day, and one of the things they were having trouble with is distributing the ball out of the back from a goalie distribution. So I went over a couple tactics with them, and I thought I'd go over them with you as well. First of all, the major concept to keep in mind is that good soccer play, as well as good futsal play, is a proper exploitation of space. That's especially important in futsal because space is so limited on a futsal court. So I've got the field set up here. We are the white team. Goalie has the ball. 2 and 3 are my defenders. 4 and 5 are my offensive players. And I've got the defensive team set up kind of as well. So this is how I've got it kind of set up how the girls were playing it. And the reason this is a problem is that even though 2 and 3 are kind of wide here, they're not as wide as they need to be. On a futsal court, you need to be as wide as you possibly can be and exploit as much space as possible. So the first thing I did was I moved the number 2 player all the way out by the sideline and the end line in the corner just like that. And I moved the 3 player out there as well. Not only did I do that, I also moved the 4 and the 5 even wider. This is a little bit uncomfortable for players that are used to playing outdoor soccer because they're not used to being, a lot of times, they're not used to being right on the sidelines. But you really have to do that in order for it to work in futsal. The next step is the goalie needs to take the ball to the top of the box. Now you do that for a couple reasons, but the main reason is because if you do that, then you're likely to draw these defenders in. And the reason that is because if they stay wide like this, goalie can simply put the ball on the ground and dribble it up. Now, the goalie would have to get rid of the ball within 4 seconds because it is futsal, but that is a possibility. So you bring it to the top of the box. These players tend to pinch in. Now, let's say they don't pinch in. Let's say they go ahead and play man-to-man. They play man-to-man. Goalie puts the ball in the field, carries it up the field, and can distribute to either 4 or 5. But let's say they pinch in or they're just playing zone to start with. So they're in more of a box shape. So if they look like that, the options for the goalie then are to distribute to 2, 3, 4, or 5. The problem with distributing to either 4 or 5 is that 4 and 5 are both a pretty long distance away from the goalie. So if the goalie tries to distribute to either 4 or 5, the ball takes a little bit of time to get there. And in that space of time, the defenders here can either step in front or cover that player, very tightly. So that doesn't work out too well. So the better play, the easier play, is to play it to either 2 or 3. We're going to assume they play it to 2. So now I'm going to move the ball over to the number 2 player. If I can. Ball goes right over to the number 2 player. Okay. I'll go back to So now the number 2 player has the ball. At that point, I ask my team, well, what does the number 2 player do? Now I got all kinds of different answers. I got go up the line, pass back to the goalie, which you can't do because it's futsal, dribble, a lot of different things. The answer, however, depends on what the defender does. Okay, so this defender basically has 2 options. They can kind of take a more of a straight line approach to the number 2 player like that, or they could cut off the line. Okay, if they take a straight line approach like that, this player would simply dribble right up the line or pass it up the line to the number 4 player. It's pretty easy. But let's say the number 5 player cuts off the line. That'll happen a lot because they don't want the ball to move up the field. So in that situation, what the number 2 player would do is dribble across. Now, again, they can't pass it back to the keeper because if they pass it back to the keeper, it's a violation in futsal. So the number 2 player would need to dribble it across, okay? And then what they do from there, again, it depends. The number 5 player is probably going to kind of follow the number 2 player a little bit. And what might also happen is this number 4 player might pinch in. So if the number 4 player pinches in, then the number 2 player would quite simply pass it to the number 3 player. And notice the number 3 player is still out wide. The number 3 player hasn't moved from their spot. So let's pass it over to the number 3 player. And there goes the ball to the number 3 player. Okay. Once we get it over to the number 3 player, make make sure the number 3 player has the ball. Now the number 3 player has some options of dribbling or passing up to the number 5 player. And this number 4 player is not going to be able to get over. This number 4 defender is not going to be able to get over to the number 3 player very quickly. So that number 3 player has plenty of room to clear it out of the back. Okay. Now, let's say a little something different happens. Okay, let's say the number 2 player has it. Number 2 player is dribbling across the middle. The number 4 player, rather than pinching in, goes out to mark the number 3 player. So if that happens, you've created a gap right in the middle of the field. The number 2 player can simply turn up just like that. And then again, the number 2 player has the number 4 and 5 players as options, or can keep dribbling depending on what these defenders do. So either way, you're out of the back. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it and you're on my YouTube page, just click like and subscribe below if you want to see more videos like that. Also, go visit my website at box2boxsoccerlife.com. If you're already on my website and you want to see updates about future posts, just page down and subscribe. Thanks.